Okay, we are now live and on air. Thank you for tuning in to today's show. This is House Psychic Radio. Now, today we are Blog Talk Radio, sorry. Today we are tuned in for our new episodes and season of Are You Cursed, Crossed, Possessed, or Hexed? And you are tuning in and listening to Are You Cursed, Crossed, Possessed, or Hexed? This is episode number 1. Today we're going to be talking about people that are crossed, cursed, hexed, possessed, or otherwise crossed up in any way, shape, or form. For those of you tuning in and listening to today's show, we will be taking callers with questions. We're going to be doing one question per caller on each caller that we take on air here. And now if we do have some time or some room between callers, we may be able to give you that second and third question. For those of you that would like to call in to today's show, the call-in number is 323-642-1694. That is once more 323-642-1694. Now, it doesn't appear that we have any callers in the queue currently. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a brief introduction here to what today's show is all about. Now, what we're trying to accomplish here is we're trying to help those of you out there that have been cursed, crossed, possessed or hexed or jinxed in any sort of way, okay? For those of you out there that have been in situations that have been ongoing for, any length of time, usually when you have a situation like this that's been going on for a while, we could say at least a few weeks to a month or a few years. It's really hard to tell because on a general basis, each case is very unique. Each case is different. And some cases are, say, more predominant than others or stronger than others, where some cases are very light and easy to take care of. Now, what this means is usually if you're cursed, crossed, hexed, or possessed, there is something going on in your world, in your energy field, where an energy was either placed upon you or you came across an energy that was not so positive, which opened up the world in your world for a spiritual attack and warfare. Okay, and this is known as spiritual warfare. And what happens here is these energies, these negative energies, can attach to you and can apply to many different areas of your life. Sometimes they apply to your love life. Sometimes they apply to, your financial life. Other times they can apply to your health or your family. We have so many cases that come through the office that there are generational issues going on vibrationally. What this means is that a negative vibration from a generational aspect, from family, has transferred to you or to someone you know and you love. And that can affect them in so many levels, depending upon what this energy specifically targets. Does it target their health? Does it target their love life? Does it have a certain pattern? Every time you start to get up there and accomplish what it is you're looking to accomplish, something comes in and knocks you down. These are different aspects of how this stuff can work in one's life and how it can take hold and effect. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be helping callers and helping our listeners understand what it is to be under these spiritual attacks. Sometimes it's a person that's put something on you because there's a jealousy factor or, for no reason at all sometimes because sometimes people don't really need a reason to be evil. They're just evil, and they want to do you harm, especially when you have a lot of light within you, you have a lot of good within your heart, and you're out there trying to help others, and you're trying to help yourself. What these things do is they try and tear you down. They try and bring you to a point of corruption, okay? They're trying to corrupt you. Now, I was inspired to do the show because I've been doing exorcisms, and I've been doing curse removals, and I've been doing things to help people out on a spiritual level, and we're getting so much success with that because every time we get someone in office who we feel we're able to help and who we're able to go to the spiritual methods to help, they end up in a much better situation, a much better position, and they start to feel much lighter when the stuff is removed from them. Now, a possessed being is a whole nother situation altogether. Instead of having an energy thrown at you or an energy come at you, this is rather quite the opposite in so many ways because the energy is not coming out of you, at you, it's coming out of you. It's coming from a place within you, a place where, if there was a time where someone was dealing with drugs, and this person, dealing with drugs was opening up a gateway for what we call demonic possession, because drugs are just a gateway to demonic possession and negative energies and spiritual influences that take hold. So when these demons, are within a person, what can happen is this person is influenced in many different ways. Some people hear voices. Some people, feel the force to make certain decisions when they, would rather not make these decisions. It happens in many different forms. And then sometimes you have cases where a person doesn't even know they have something on them or something within them. A person doesn't even know that they're possessed. And they're walking around and they feel fine on certain levels, but then they're looking at their life and they're wondering why they can't make it, why they cannot succeed on whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish. And what happens here is that, we find out when they come to see us or they just happen to bump into us somehow. The universe works in very mysterious ways. It brings us all together for a reason. So when we find them, what happens here is that they actually find out that they have something within them. We discern what kind of spirit we're looking at. Now, there are different types of spirits or demons out there. We have incubuses, we have succubuses, we have the leaders of the Legion type army, which are never good. So you must really, as a person that helps others in this field, we have to learn the differences between, the different types of negative forces out there and the different demonic energies that can try and harm you as a human being in this world or harm the people that you're trying to help. And, incubuses and succubuses, they feed off of sexual energy. For an example, an incubus is a spirit, a demonic force, okay, and it feeds off of female sexual energy, where a succubus is a female demon who feeds off of male sexual energy. So you have two different aspects here. And unless you really know what you're facing out there in the world, unless you really know what you're trying to help remove from someone, you're not going to be very successful. You have to know that knowledge is power. And at the end of the day, the knowledge about what you're removing from someone is power, because that helps you defeat whatever it is. The more specifics you know, the more you know about these things, the more you're able to remove them because you know how they work. You know what the weaknesses are and what the strengths are of these forces that seek to harm others. So what we're going to do here shortly when we get some callers is we're going to take you on air, and anyone that would like to share their experience or ask a question is more than welcome to go ahead and call in. Now, for those of you that are new to Blog Talk Radio and online radio shows here, if you want to actually ask a question but you're called in and you don't know how, you need to push the number 1 on your touch tone phone. That's the number 1 on your phone. That should bring you into the queue so I can see you, and then we can bring you on air. Now, for those of you out there that would like to call in but you're listening in online, the call-in number is 323-642-1694. Once more, that is 323-642-1694. Now, so one time, I could say I had a person recently, and this person was walking around, didn't know they were possessed, just knew something was wrong, just did not feel completely like themselves, had too many situations go bad in their life, too many near-death experiences or brushes with death in their lives, and something was making this happen. So, I ended up getting called over to my friend's store, and, we kind of have a very good understanding sometimes when people come in. She works with me very closely, so she knows what to expect and what to look for. So they began speaking about spirituality with her, and she informed them as to what I do. So she called me over to the store, which is not very far from here. Fortunately, I was available to go. I met up with them, and immediately doing a reading on the spot with them, we found out that they were possessed and that they had not only a possession but also a generational curse and some other stuff that was placed upon them, which was no good at all because it kept on bringing them down. It kept on trying to tear them down. And in the end, it was literally going to try and kill them and collect their soul, their true spirit, okay? And what these things do is they try and corrupt because they really want to bring you into the darkness. They want to win this battle between the dark and the light. They want to destroy anything that is the opposite of themselves, this dark forces. So what happened is that I was able to go in there and help this individual finding this out upon a reading at that time, and then on the spot we were able to perform what is known as an exorcism or a cleansing, depending upon what spiritual path you take. And we were able to get this out of them. Now, temporarily, this wiped out the person's memory. It wiped it out temporarily for a few minutes because when we were done, they had to become reoriented. They had to get their memory back. The reason for this is because when we take something out of a person, something bad, it depends on where that bad thing is, where that demon resides within that person's body. Sometimes it's within the head. Sometimes, if it's not in the crown or the third eye, which are the 2 points of the head, it could be within the throat or the throat chakra. It could be in the heart chakra. It could be in the solar plexus or in the root chakra. So there are different areas where this could be, and I'm forgetting a chakra here, so it could be in the sacral as well. Now, with this particular case, this man had it residing, in several places because we had several possessions within one being, which is possible, but, it is a rarity. So this was within their head, and within their head is where it resides. So pulling this out of the person's head is pulling it out of their brain, pulling it out of where it's residing, because this person was hearing voices, this person was going through some stuff, even stuff they could not share with us at the time. And when we pulled it out, because it came from the head, it leaves a bit of a aftermath or an after effect. And when you pull it out, okay, from the head, this can affect the memory, this can affect the motor skills, this can affect all sorts of things, but usually only temporarily, okay? Now, once it's gone, you need to perform a healing process. Many people, they will remove something, they will go ahead professionally and take off whatever might be on you, but they don't go through a process of teaching you how to heal or providing you with services and direction or somewhere to go to be able to facilitate your own spiritual healing. Now, spiritual healing is very important because it helps to ensure that our stronghold, our spiritual aura is purified and vibrating at such a good frequency, and helps to ensure that we are protected from anything else coming back on us or trying to reattach to us or get inside of us again. The way that healing is so important as well is because if we do not heal the traumas, we do not heal what ails us emotionally, and we stuff it big traumas on top of each other, and we keep stuffing it down, and deep inside of us and ignoring them, we are creating what's known as an Achilles heel. We are creating an ultimate weakness. Now, we don't think of it that way because we think, oh, we've got to be strong in this world. We've got to show no emotion. We've got to show that things do not affect us. But that's not the truth. That's the truth is quite the opposite. The more you do that, the more you're brainwashed with that, the more you're actually becoming weaker and vulnerable to attack of a spiritual nature, to spiritual warfare. Because demons and entities and jinn, now jinn are a whole other subject, but these things will actually use that to their advantage. They use your emotional traumas against you. They use it as a way to have a backdoor inside of you. And the deeper the trauma, the harder the trauma is on you, the more suppressed it is, the more likely it's going to be a doorway. The more likely a demon, a spirit, or an entity will use that to enter your body and try and take some kind of control over you. Now, a lot of times you do have demons that are dormant, or you have spirits that are dormant within a person, okay, and they don't get activated until much later on in life when something happens that activates them. Something occurs that activates them. Now, this could be something that brings up a very bad memory from the past, like a rape or a physical abuse that had happened to you. It can be anything. Sometimes it's a very simple situation that activates it. Sometimes it's a very heavy situation that activates it. But we've been out here now helping people for, quite some time, so many years, and we're trying to now promote that here through Blog Talk Radio, and we're trying to expand the amount of people we are able to help through this world overcome what darkness is trying to go after them. So I'm going to go ahead now and talk a little bit about curses, talk a little bit about how curses and hexes and cross conditions happen, okay? So a curse is basically a magical type of energy that someone or something, depending upon the case, but usually it's someone, okay, can place on someone else because they feel jealous, or they feel this animosity, or they feel this hatred, or they feel this anger. They feel some kind of negative energy, vibrational thought towards this other human being. And what they can do is, if they have knowledge of the magical arts or black arts, they can take their knowledge of the black arts, magical arts, and use that against the person and can put something on them spiritually. Now, how does this happen? Sometimes you say, well, at the very least, all you need is a name. All they need is a name, okay? But a lot of times you'll find that they like to use something that has that person's energy on it. And this creates what we call a tether or a tie to the person that they are trying to hurt. And they will use this device. They will use whatever it is, whether it be a nail clipping, a piece of hair strand, a piece of dirty clothing that has that scent of the person on there, something that symbolizes the individual. And what they will do is they'll use that as a tether, and they will mix it up and put it in with certain materials that are used amongst the dark arts to create harm. Now, these materials could be anything between gopher dust, which is graveyard dirt, or, this could be stuff like crushed up buggies that they mix it up with, and then they put it into a box or a coffin, or, they put it into this kind of format. Now, what they'll do is they'll use this to throw a curse on someone, and then depending upon the way that this curse is made or this crossing is made, what they'll do is they'll go ahead and specifically target certain areas of one's life. So they could be targeting the love life. They could be targeting, the money. They could be targeting career. They could be targeting your health. They could do all sorts of things. Now, we also have situations out there where, let's say, they get a little bit more physical. They get into the field of hurting someone a little bit more on a physical level. One thing that they do is they take 3 ingredients, and I'm not going to give you the recipe here because we're not trying to promote how to do dark stuff. But what they can do is they can take 3 ingredients, all they need, and let's say you have no qualms with them, you never did them any harm, but they just don't like you being your neighbor. They don't want you to be their neighbor. They just can't stand that you're their neighbor, and that could be because they're bigoted or racist or they have whatever kind of judgment that's bad. They can take these 3 ingredients, mix them up, and put them on your doorstep, okay, with ill intention. They can put them there, and when you step in it or you step over it, that activates what we call the removal spell. And what that does is it will make you move. It will cause all sorts of havoc in your life. It'll lower your financial income for paying your bills. Or what it will do is it'll make some kind of problem happen between you and the people that you rent from. It will make it happen in whatever form it can. Wherever the weakness is, it will target it and it will bring you down. And this is why protection on a daily basis, even if you're not, very believing in this sort of thing, but even if you're just kind of a daily practitioner of Christianity or whatever path you may be, Hinduism, Judaism, Islam, whatever it might be, daily protection is always important. Now, it's like when we take vitamins or we eat healthy in our lives, we're protecting ourselves from becoming unhealthy. We're protecting ourselves from getting into a place physically that we are unwell. Well, spiritual protection is the same thing, but we're trying to protect ourselves spiritually so we do not become spiritually unwell. And sometimes, all it really takes is doing a prayer on a daily basis from your heart. Now, we're not saying to just say the prayer, because so many people are out there and they just say a prayer to say it because they feel like just saying it is going to help. And you know what? It's got to have passion. If you're praying in this world and you're praying without passion, you're praying without the heart, then your prayers are worth very little. They might be somewhat effective because you're still calling upon a positive energy through prayer, but they're not going to be nearly as effective as they could be if you really put the passion behind them. This is why we say pray from the heart whenever you pray. If you pray from the heart, you can create a prayer of your own, or you can use a standard prayer that's out there. There's too many of them to count. One of the prayers I really love the most is St. Michael. Okay, I will pray to St. Michael on a daily basis. St. Michael is a wonderful archangel. He comes in, he helps to defeat the evil, he helps to remove the darkness from one's life, and he helps to make sure that you're protected and that you're clean of all things negative. And, St. Michael is a wonderful prayer you can use. You can look it up on Google. You can go to YouTube, okay? YouTube's a wonderful resource for finding prayers for protection and all sorts of other things. But remember, sometimes you have major cases out there, cases that really need professional help, because you can teach yourself with the books and YouTube all day long, but it's only going to bring you so far. Sometimes it's not going to teach you how to do the advanced stuff that a professional can teach you, okay, or a professional can do for you. So those of you that would like to call in to today's show, the call-in number is 323-642-1694. Once more, that is 323-642-1694. And for those of you tuning in and listening to today's show that would like to actually be in the queue and have your question answered, please don't forget to push the number 1 on your phone. That should load you in the queue so I can bring you live and on air. Okay. Now, we may be joined with a couple of co-hosts in future episodes. Okay. We're supposed to have some co-hosts coming into this series. This series is going to be continued on as long as we can get it to continue on. We have to see how well it's going to do. My hopes and my projections are, having quite a few episodes out there, but at least right now I'm planning to do 7 episodes within this season. Okay. Now, for those of you out there that are tuning in and not prepared for today, this was a last-minute setup for this episode. We do have another episode coming out in 2 days from today for this subject. We also have a regular episode or regular show, which should be airing tomorrow night. So please feel free to stay tuned to our show, everything that we're doing here. You are currently listening to Reverend Adam. We also want to announce our website for services. If you would like to have a private service done for you and you don't want to share your information on air here, private services are available through howpsychic.com. That is HOWPSYCHIC.com. And the link is also available within the description on the show's page. If you follow it through Facebook or you go to the show page on Blog Talk Radio, you'll be able to find the link to our website and available services directly through there. Okay. So Now, sometimes what it takes to remove these things, we're gonna go ahead and take a few minutes here while we're waiting on some callers, and we're gonna talk about what it takes to remove this kind of energy. What does it really entail? The removal of such things can take time. Sometimes it can happen overnight. Sometimes it can happen, within a matter of weeks or in extreme cases, sometimes it even takes a couple of years. So we don't really look at time as a factor because each case is unique. Each case, can vary from person to person. Each case can take, a little bit or a lot of time to remove something. Usually exorcisms, I get them out in 1 or 2 sessions. The worst case scenario, I'll get an exorcism done in 3 sessions. But here's the factor, I do exorcisms in person, and I also offer exorcisms through long-distance healing. Now, long-distance healing takes more time. It's not going to be that easy, and it's not going to be an overnight process. The reason being is because we have to take that energy and we have to clean it out of you from a distance. So tapping into the energetic field, tapping into your energy can take time to do it. It takes time for energy to travel just as it does for us to travel on a plane or through a car to go to another state. It takes time. Now, sometimes you could say it works a little bit faster than taking a car or a vehicle, but, like I said, it all depends from case to case. So, removing these things is a several-step process. One, you have to feel out where it came from. You have to discern what is it that ails the person. What is really wrong with them? Where is this coming from? Okay? You have to discern all of the details involved with the case. Then, number 2, you come up with a plan. You come up with a way to remove it. You have to then think, as a professional, you have to think, okay, I understand what this case is. I understand the details of it, and based upon my experience as a professional, then I can say, okay, well, based upon this experience, this is how to best remove it. So you come up with a plan, okay? Then let me see here. That was 1, and then 2. So it's first the discernment, okay? Then number 2, you come up with the plan. Then number 3, you have to implement that plan. Now, the plan should always include 3 things, okay? The removal, which will be the clearing, okay? The protection, and then the sealer, okay? Now, you have to remove what's there. Then, a lot of times, people don't remove it. You'll hear that, okay, they've removed it, but they really haven't. So you have to make sure, once you've removed it, that it really is removed. You have to go through another session or another reading. You have to find out, okay, is this truly removed? Once you got to work on the sealing and the protection, but first comes the protection. You got to protect the individual. You got to make sure that you strengthen their energetic boundaries. You strengthen them so nothing can come in and harm them anymore. Then 3, you add the sealer. Now the sealer is sort of like putting a lock on the gate. The gate is the protection, and the sealer is the lock. Now, the sealer, or the lock in this case, ensures that nothing can go through that protection. So it's an extra layer. And also, in the sealer process, that's when you want to begin with telling the individual or telling the client that they need to go through a spiritual healing, which means that they have to bring up emotions within them that they've suppressed for many years or for however long. And they have to heal those emotions by facing them. And usually a lot of times it's because their throat chakra is blocked. They can't speak their truth. They're too afraid of what other people might think or how they might be judged. And that's not important. Their well-being is what's more important. So, you have to facilitate a way for them to understand how to heal. A lot of times you have to send them through what's known as epigenetic healing, or you have to send them through kind of Reiki healing, depending upon what they're open to, what is their mind open to, okay? And what this does is it helps them energetically remove the imprints, remove the karma, remove the stuff that was passed on to them through their traumas in life. And it helps to remove that. So now it's just the pure emotion that's left. And then they have to work that emotion by allowing themselves to feel it and then release it through their words, release it through however they need to communicate. Let's say it was a family situation. They always were stunted with their voice when it came to talking to their parents, like the father or the mother. And they're a grown adult, but there's still a hindrance here. Because now the best way to heal it is to communicate, to get it off of one's chest, to release it. Because these, once more, if we go back to earlier conversations, these emotions left unchecked and unhealed are gateways for these demonic influences and for these curses and hexes and crosses and jinxes and all that to get back on a person, to come back, to spring back. So it's really important, one, to discern what problem are we looking at. What is it? Is it a possession? Is it a curse? Is it a hex? Is it a jinx? Where did it come from? Who did it to them? Whatever brought it about. And then two, you have to come up with a plan. You have to say, okay, this is the plan. This is how many days we're going to be working on this. This is how we're going to help the situation. This is how we're going to remove it. And you have to work on removing it. You have to work on putting a protection on the person. You have to work on sealing the work. You have to work on healing the person. Because at the end of the day, every step is important. If you miss a step, you're leaving room for that darkness to come back. So once more, we want to thank everyone for tuning in to today's show. We want to announce that all of our private services are available through our website. That website is howpsychic.com. That's howpsychic.com. Thank you. PSYCHIC.com. And if you're looking for the link is available through our radio show page here on Blog Talk Radio. If you go to the description, you're going to find the link. All you have to do is scroll down to the end of the description. Once you find that link, all you got to do is click on it. What it's going to do is it's going to bring you to the website. Then you can go through services on the website, and you'll see what's available. If you were looking for it not directly on the website, you can always go to the Contact Us page, and you can find it available through calling us and asking us. All right. Now, it doesn't look like we have any further callers today. We're just going to play a little bit of music for right now while we wait on callers. All right, and we are back. You have been listening to Are You Cursed, Crossed, Possessed, or Hexed? This has been episode number 1 of our new series. You have been listening to Reverend Adam. And remember, all services are available through our website at howpsychic.com. Once more, that is howpsychic.com. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Remember, our next episode is going to be in 2 days from today. The show times and availability will be the same. It's going to be from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We want to thank you all for calling and listening in to today's show. Namaste, love, light, and good night.